From On Your Own Adventures, the host of the program on Sportsman Channel, Randy Newberg, is with us. Randy, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, Cam. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, so for folks who may have missed your previous appearances on the program, can you tell us what On Your Own Adventures is all about?
Yeah, it's pretty much like it says. It's on your own. In other words, self-guided hunting, and the adventures are all on public land. Pretty much Western hunting, the way most people get the chance to do it.
All right, so this is designed for folks to be able to go out and do themselves. You've got a show coming up on a pretty special hunt, a wolf hunt. What can you tell us about this?
Well, as everybody knows, the wolf is a pretty controversial situation in the northern Rockies here, and finally, in the spring of 2011, we wrestled control from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, maybe I should say we wrestled control from the courts. And Montana and Idaho were given the state control to go ahead with their hunting seasons. And last winter, we spent 11 days doing just that.
Oh, really? So and we've been covering the wolf controversy, and you're right. And so basically, what has happened, Randy, is that the wolf population has recovered to the point in these states where they're not endangered anymore, they're not threatened anymore, and now they've actually become a problem.
Yeah, they've become a problem, and like all wildlife, they have their place. But part of the deal was when these wolves were reintroduced in '95, the agreement between the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the states was that this would be a non-essential and experimental population here that was reintroduced. And in that process, it was going to give the states a lot more management control and mechanisms than what would normally be allowed under a true endangered species. And one of those mechanisms is hunting and trapping of those wolves once they reached a certain agreed-upon number. And we reached that number 12 years ago.
12 years?
Yeah, it's been in the courts for so long that the only people who were probably sad to see the wolves finally get delisted and handed to state control are those, I call them serial litigators, the environmental groups who get good paychecks for tying everything up in court the way the wolves were.
All right, so 12 years ago, that population threshold was met. Now, luckily, you guys were able to talk with the wolves and say, quit reproducing for a decade or so, right? And you guys were able to keep the herd, the pack down.
Well, there is a situation where under this non-essential experimental rule that the state and the Wildlife Services, the federal agency, were allowed to go in and remove problem wolves. But even at that, we were expected that we'd get control somewhere when we had 200 to 300 wolves, even though the minimum that we have to maintain is 150 or 15 breeding pairs. Right now in Montana, even after taking 176 wolves by hunting last year, the estimate this spring was that we had somewhere between 650 and 700 wolves, which is a far cry above what was agreed to when we sat down and negotiated this deal.
Absolutely. All right, now listen, obviously anti-hunters talk about, and frankly, anti-hunters talk about the wolf in a way, Randy, that I think a lot of hunters talk about the wolf. The difference is that the anti-hunters believe that if we don't engage in hunting, that somehow the wolf population will remain healthy. There won't be any problems. Livestock won't be taken. Farmers won't, perhaps be put out of business. They believe that if we just leave everything alone, everything will be perfect, right?
Yeah, that's that might work in a dream world, but the West, pretty much like the entire continent, is not what it was 400 years ago, and these beliefs that man is not part of the equation and that we should all pack up and leave and head to a different continent to let the wolves and the elk come back into some symbiotic balance is hardly practical. But for those who are offering to leave, to let that happen, I'll accept their invitation.
So what is it like to actually go out on a wolf hunt? I mean, how does that compare to, let's say, going out on an elk hunt in Montana?
It is one of the most challenging hunts ever. I had completely undershot the mark of what I thought it would entail as far as challenge, as far as how smart they are, how capable they are of covering vast amounts of terrain, how low the densities are. it is a huge undertaking, which makes it, in my mind, all that much more exciting. And when you think about the fact that we sold 18,000 wolf tags in Montana last year, and we harvested 176 wolves, that's less than a 1% success rate. So when you luck out and you're one of those 1% in the crowd, you can't help but put a smile on your face and say, you know, this was something special. And in the process, you certainly develop a huge amount of respect for the wolves.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, Randy, it sounds like this is not perhaps a hunt that a novice hunter would want to start with.
Yeah, if I was coming out west to start with a hunt, I don't know that wolves would be my first choice. It's wild country. It's crazy places that they go, and you're trying to follow them, and it's not a sedentary hunt at all. They're mostly nocturnal. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, and that, like I was saying, that just makes it such a challenge that maybe it's not the best bet for the first Western hunt someone might plan.
All right. Well, listen, Randy, when can we see the show?
This show will air. It's 2 episodes, half hour each, and the premiere will be August 16th on Sportsman channel, 9 o'clock Eastern. Will be the first half, and then the second half will be the next Thursday, August 23rd, 9 o'clock Eastern, and it'll be re-airing throughout those weeks. So if you don't catch it on the premiere, there's other times throughout the week you might be able to pick it up.
All right. Randy Newberg, host of On Your Own Adventures, airing on Sportsman channel. Randy, thanks again for coming on the program, sir, and let's talk again soon.
Thank you, Cam. Look forward to it. Take care.
Have a great night, sir.
Bye. You too.